Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Property Club webinar, Tips and Tricks to Start or to Add to Your Portfolio. So before we get started, unlike agents, we're real investors providing real support. It's our duty to protect your assets and promote your best interest. And to do this, we need a finance broker to provide us with a review of your circumstances. All of these services are, of course, free in Property Club to protect you. And we do that because 90% of property investors retire on a part pension and remain poor, but not our members. We create millionaires, so ask us for our wealth check form, which we'll cover off a little bit later tonight. So tonight in the webinar panel, you will see two handouts, one of which is a financial wealth check and a needs analysis form, and we'll talk about those documents a little bit later. So a quick intro to the Property Club for those of you new coming along tonight. Who are we? We are a club of like-minded people who found a passion of investing in property and setting up for our future. The club has a wealth of information. We're a free club who's happy to share our resources, and the club is paid by the sellers of properties so that you as a buyer don't need to pay a cent. The club has years and years of experience in researching and sourcing the best properties. Why are you here tonight? So you've all invested your time to be here. Congratulations. You've taken positive steps to taking control of your future. And the purpose of our webinars is to talk to you about your future and help point out some ways to set yourself up for not only retirement, but to have fantastic lifestyle choices along the way. You really can make a difference to your future. You just need to want to do it and seek assistance from those that can help. And that's us here at the Property Club. And remember, we're here to help you for free. So a little bit about us. So we are Justin and Jenny Watson, and we're 35 years old. We both work full time. We have a 4-year-old Olivia and a 5-month-old Penelope. We joined the club back in 2009 and we became property millionaires in 2012. We became property mentors in 2016, and the reason why we stepped up to be property mentors was the club had helped us so much. By 2016, I think we were either on our 3rd or our 4th property. And we wanted to be able to give back and help others on their property journey as well. We became Young Investors Club ambassadors in 2016 to really help the younger generation understand that we need to take control of our future because we're not going to be able to survive on our superannuation or a pension for that matter. And we became the presidents of the Young Investors Club back in 2018. We have 5 properties in our portfolio. And in achieving that, it's important to note that we have only been on average income, so we're certainly not earning millions of dollars, but it is achievable to do if you make some really good choices and, of course, with the assistance of the club. So previously we've covered off over the past few months and even before that, the importance of thinking about your retirement. That's step 1. The fact that you need to look out for your retirement because no one else is going to do it for you, and really understanding that the action you take or the lack of action that you take today, it's going to affect you for years to come. We've talked about the fact that if you do wait to take action, it's actually costing you money, and that the sooner you invest in property, the sooner your property values increase. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is ways to actually get you on that journey quicker. So your first step to paving your portfolio building path, whether you are purchasing your first property or whether or not you are adding to your portfolio, is a financial wealth check. The first step is understanding your current financial situation and how can the club help. So all you need to do is submit a financial wealth check form, which is located in your handout section, to your property mentor, or send it through to us, which our details will be at the end of the webinar. And one of our club preferred brokers will assess your current financial situation at no charge. This gives you an understanding of where you stand financially, and if you can't do anything to add to your portfolio at this point in time, it gives you an understanding of what you need to do in order to achieve that. The next step is to set your goals. Don't aimlessly start adding to your portfolio. Now that you know your current financial situation, because you've done a financial wealth check with us, it's time to start planning your goals. In order to work towards where you're going, you really need to have those goals. And the way we manage ours is we have a planning meeting every 6 months. We'll go out for dinner and we'll talk about what we want to achieve financially and personally in the next 12 months. Without having these goals, you're not being strategic in adding to your portfolio and not purchasing the right properties to fit where you are in life and where you need to be in the future. So by planning, you're really going to make the most of your portfolio. The next step in the process is budgeting. So you need to set your budget. If you need to save more money, you need to budget, make sacrifices, and you need to know your financial situation. You have to set your goals. Now you need to work out what it's going to take and what you need to do. So check out our budgeting webinar on YouTube, and we're going to send that along with a recording of tonight's webinar. There's some really good tips in there on how you can really set a budget to understand where all of your money's going and where you can tighten your belt. So let's talk about getting your deposit together. So the first homeowners grant, so if you're willing to make some sacrifices, you might be able to take advantage of the first homeowners grant, even though you're purchasing to invest. If you purchase in your state and you move into the property for the required timeframe, you could receive the grant. And once you've fulfilled that requirement, you can then move out and then rent the property with someone else paying your mortgage. So this is where you really need to have a think about being strategic, and by speaking to your property mentors, we're able to help you make the best decision for what's going to work for where you are in life. Each state's first homeowners grant and requirements are different, so do speak to your property mentor who has that knowledge so that you are really making the best choice for you. What if it's too expensive to purchase in your state? And that's the reality in some states. This means that you might not be able to purchase in your state as a first home buyer because the cost to get into the market might be too great. So if that's the case, think about investing interstate and foregoing the first homeowners grant in order to get into the market and start your property equity growth. The longer you wait, the longer it's going to take for your property to increase in value, and that's valuable time in the market that you're losing. You might as well be burning your money. So this particular scenario is called rent vesting, where you rent where you live, you purchase a property somewhere else, somewhere affordable, and you tenant it out. Now, for those of you that might be concerned about purchasing interstate, rest assured the club take the hassle out of purchasing interstate by researchers looking into the areas in details. And like I said earlier on in the webinar, we have very, very experienced researchers who are really sourcing the best properties. We have tons and tons and tons of builders come to us and say, please list our properties, but we will only do so if it meets all of our stringent requirements, because we want to put our members into the best possible properties. Engaging club preferred conveyancers and solicitors in the state. So we do that on your behalf so that you don't need to worry about finding a conveyancer or a solicitor in a state that's foreign to you. But if you do have one that you prefer, you can use those as well. We provide full property profiles with an abundance of information on the property and the location, so that you really do understand the ins and outs of where you're buying. And we even reimburse travel expenses for club members who travel to see the property and those that are eligible. We always recommend keep an eye on the property clock. So what is the property clock? It's a piece of information that Heron Todd White provide on a monthly basis, and your property mentor can help you locate it. This clock tells you when cities are at their peak in price, declining, or at their lowest, and it can assist you in identifying when a city is likely at its cheapest, which is obviously when you want to buy. So if you're struggling to scrape your deposit together, purchasing in a city that's cheaper than another is obviously a benefit to you. The bank of mum and dad. So for some, they're lucky enough that mum and dad can support their entry into the property market. And it doesn't necessarily have to be financial support, but they might even be in a position that they can assist you as a guarantor. So explore all of those options with parents. Good old-fashioned saving. So making sacrifices to add to your savings balance. Lots of little expenses can add up quickly. So think about what you really need. Okay, what you really, really need. Do you need a subscription to multiple streaming services, or will one be enough? Can you cut down takeaway night to one? Can you cut down a night or two? Thinking about those small little sacrifices that in the long run, even $20 a week, that's $80 a month. So another way that we help our members getting into property is our club clauses. So when negotiating great deals for you, the club will always try to negotiate the clauses into the contract that benefit you. So it helps you get started sooner because it helps to reduce your risk of things going wrong. So some of the things that we work hard to negotiate into contracts is the ability to exit the contract if you can't get finance. And extra security when it comes to valuations not coming in as expected. So just an example of how the club really push for our members to make that purchase nice and smooth. Our researchers work really hard to negotiate the best deals for our members. And when you are purchasing your first and you're trying to get your deposit together, have a look for our properties that might offer cashbacks. So sometimes we'll negotiate such a great deal that when you purchase the property, you get some cash back. It could be free appliances or finishing packages, rental guarantees or rental top-ups that provide you with rent if you're having trouble renting it out. And that's obviously extra peace of mind. And sometimes we can even negotiate deals that include body corporate coverage, which means that you don't have to pay for it for a certain amount of time. So chat to your property mentor to discuss properties that offer these great deals. And there's one that we'll share with you at the end of tonight's webinar. Our cash analysis program. So your property mentor will run what we call a CAP, cash analysis program for you if there's a property that's of interest to you. And that helps you to understand just how much your property is likely to cost. And that's obviously really important when you're getting your deposit together and purchasing your first property or adding to your portfolio, because it helps you best prepare for your purchase and to help you to see if you can afford it after taking into account things like tax breaks, rental income and running costs. But most importantly, getting you started, don't talk yourself out of it. We have so many people that are so eager to set themselves up, plan for their future, but they'll find something wrong or something that doesn't suit with every property because they keep talking themselves out of it. Remember, every day that you're not in the market is a day of growth that you're missing out on. So, and that's probably one of the most common things that we've identified as property mentors is people looking for things wrong with the property, not to buy it. So really do encourage you to remember why you wanted to build a portfolio in the first place. And remember that your purchase is for investment. It doesn't need to be your dream home because you don't live in it, somebody else does. And the longer you wait, the longer before your property increases in value and the stronger likelihood that the property will cost you more to purchase in the future. So just want to recap on why we took action when we did. We've covered off some of these things already in terms of tips and tricks. But we are $750,000 up because of our property portfolio. And the reason why we took action when we did was because we want financial freedom now, but obviously most importantly into the future. And we realised that the best time to start is as soon as possible while we still have working life ahead of us. We know the property takes time to make money, so you're not going to make money overnight, or substantial money anyway. But if we had have waited and we didn't start until now, it would have cost us $750,000. So our property portfolio has grown $600,000 just in property growth, and we've saved $150,000 in tax over the course of the 15 odd years that we've had our portfolio. And obviously we still have another 20 to 30 years of work, so that's even more money that we're going to be saving and adding to our portfolio. So it really does cost you if you don't take action. Now, for those that already have a portfolio, it's time to add. So you can do this by harvesting equity. So your properties that have gone up in value, talk to your financial broker about harvesting this equity. So you can then use these processes to fund your next property. So this is when you take the growth from the property and you use that to then go and purchase another one. Complete a financial wealth check, again in the handouts, and our brokers can explore this further with you. Cash deposit, again, good old-fashioned savings will allow you to purchase another property, but also superannuation. So explore investing with your super fund. Not everybody can do it, but sometimes people are able to use the funds in their super accounts to fund a property. And we have super experts in the club who can help you explore this as an option. So if this is something that you're keen to learn about, send us an email for further information, and our contact details will be at the end of this webinar. Some quick money saving tips. You know, if you look around your house and you look around your day, different things that you do during your day, I'm sure that there's probably at least 10 things that you'd be able to slash some expenditure in. But I guess some quick ones that come to mind are reducing streaming service subscriptions. The amount of people that I know that subscribe to Foxtel, Netflix, Stan, all of them. And the reality is we probably don't actually have time to sit there and actually watch it all the time. So minimise what you can there. Reduce takeaway nights. Reassess your interest rates on current loans and ask for a reduction. What have you got to lose? Food prep for the week. So this cuts down on shopping costs, cuts down on wastage. Reassess your rents. If you are leasing out a property, is there room to increase the rent, which is obviously going to help with your income. Now we want to share a property highlight with you. I mentioned earlier in the webinar that, you know, look out for some really fantastic deals that the club has negotiated, and we've got one here tonight to show you, Narangba Terrace Homes. So this particular property is 39 k's from Brisbane CBD, 13 k's from a Westfield shopping centre. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1 car, a terrace home. House and land with a 2-part contract. No body corporate fees, and it'll rent for approximately $410 to $450 per week, which means that the rental yield is approximately 5.2%. Amazing vacancy rates as low as 1.6%, where the average is usually around 3%. So, you know, a pretty good area where you're pretty confident that your property is going to rent. But what's most fantastic about this property is that it comes with a 2-year rent guarantee, meaning you will definitely get $410 per week rent, and if you don't, it'll be topped up by the developer. So these properties start from $445,000, which is a really low point in terms of getting into the property market. Really hard to come by anything metropolitan that's less than that. So this is a really fantastic deal. Some really nice pictures there of the properties. Now, just to give you a bit of an indication as to where this property sits in terms of cash flow. So we've put together a cash flow analysis here on this particular property based on a couple purchasing on average incomes of around $83,000 per year. So if you were to purchase this property and live in it, when you take into account mortgage repayments, rates, all of those sorts of things, it's going to cost you around $348, which is that red part of the graph there, so $348 a week. But if you rent it out, you're going to bring in $376 a week. You'll still have that outflow of $348. You'll have your tax savings of $73, which means that this property is now $101 credit each week. So it's cash flow positive for you, $101 each week, which is, that's a fantastic addition to add to your portfolio, and especially with that rental guarantee. So if you're interested in hearing more about this property, please do reach out to us at the end of the webinar, because we can certainly get you in contact with our research to talk more about that property. So your call to action tonight, don't just flick off the webinar and walk away. You've come along tonight because you want to better your situation, you want to better your future. So do something tonight about that. Understand your situation by completing a financial wealth check. Remember, it's completely free. It's about understanding your finances, which you need to know in order to set your goals. So download the financial wealth check in the attachments section of this webinar. Send it to yic@propertyclub.com.au and we'll pass it on to your property mentor or to a broker. If you already know where you stand financially and you're ready to look for a property, you can complete a needs analysis form, which is also in the handouts. And we'll be able to start talking about different properties with you. Again, send that to yic@propertyclub.com.au. And now it's time to get the job done. Thanks so much for coming along tonight, guys. Hoping that you are motivated and ready to add to your portfolio or purchase your first property for your portfolio. I'll leave the webinar running for a minute or so just to give people a chance to download those handouts. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next month.